God says, they tried to bury you spiritually, but heaven just exposed their plan. The words fall like thunder over your soul, shaking off the heaviness that has clung to you. This moment is not random. This message carries a divine timestamp. At midnight on the eve of your turning point, heaven whispered your name. In the quiet hour before dawn, while the world still slept, the veil was torn and what was hidden in darkness was revealed in the light. I, Michael, the Archangel of War and Justice, stepped into this vision carrying heaven's decree. And the Lord's voice echoed with power. Release this message only to the ones who feel the stirring within. This is not for all. It is for the chosen. If your spirit quickens as you hear these words, then heaven has marked this revelation for you. The stakes are not small. Betrayal sought to crush you. Shame whispered to silence you. Relief seemed impossible, and vindication appeared distant. Someone whispered your end, but the heavens intercepted that whisper and wrote the decree. People piled dirt over your destiny, thinking they could bury your future, but angels were already at work, excavating the soil, unearthing the treasure, and preparing your resurrection. But hear this, there is a condition for the one who will receive this word in full. Sit in silence. Do not react to what you think you see. Do not let your anger spill over. Heaven's instruction is simple. Listen. Be still. Obedience is the doorway through which revelation flows. And yet, the most startling part of this message is the identity of the one who engineered this plot. The name you suspect is not the true name. The face you fear is not the face behind the mask. The identity will shock you. You felt the pulled shoulders at the feast, but that chill had an architect, one closer than you imagined. Do not despair. Heaven declares, what was meant to bury you will become the very platform that elevates you. The grave they dug is now your stage. Their attempt at covering you has already been transformed into your unveiling. Open this now, for heaven has already acted. You must align your heart with what is being revealed. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1414 is now released over your life. Lift your eyes. Heaven speaks now. Do not let your gaze remain on the ground where others tried to bury you, for the ground itself has shifted, and the stones rolled against your future are being moved by unseen hands. This is the hour of unveiling. This is the moment when what was whispered in secret is about to be shouted in the courts of heaven. Listen carefully, for heaven has broken its silence and commands me to speak. I, Michael, stood in the vision with a trumpet in hand, and the Lord's hand moved like lightning across the heavens. The trumpet carried the scent of iron and rain, a warning of battle and a promise of cleansing. The hand of the Almighty was warm, steady, certain, stretching across the sky like a sword that cuts through shadows. Do not dismiss these words as mere imagination, for they arrive with authority sealed in fire. Within the next 2 hours, expect clarity to strike your spirit. Before sunrise, the veil will begin to lift. No, I do not speak of clocks and calendars as men measure them. I speak of divine timing, the sudden rush when heaven intersects with earth. This message is not for all. It is for the remnant, for the chosen, for those whose names are inscribed not in fading ink, but etched in the eternal records of heaven. If your heart races as you hear these words, it is because your name has been whispered in warfare. Even now, I see the scene. Ordinary life halts. A phone rings, but you cannot answer. A conversation is interrupted by silence. The room shifts, heavy with a presence that stills gossip and arrests distraction. It is not imagination. It is visitation. You sense a hush descend, and in that hush, your eyes open to what you could not see before. I was commanded, speak to the buried ones. Declare that what was hidden is being shown. And so I speak. I see angels with lamps, lifting cobwebs from forgotten corners, revealing the truth long concealed. I see a scroll unfurl, one name highlighted in fire, the name heaven is about to expose. Do not react to accusations. Do not argue your innocence. Do not exhaust yourself in defense. Instead, kneel. Breathe. Hear. Your silence will roar louder than any rebuttal. Your obedience will speak louder than your words. The identity of the one behind the plan will strike you with shock. For it is not the loudest voice in your opposition. It is not the enemy you pointed at from afar. It is a face close to your peace, someone who sat near your trust, who drank from your cup, who nodded at your victories, even as they plotted your fall. The betrayal was not distant, it was near. But do not fear. Heaven has exposed their hand before it could complete its work. You have carried stones in your pockets, the weight of suspicion and confusion. You thought it was your own burden. But heaven says, those stones were placed there by another, and I will remove them. I will reveal who placed them. I will bring justice not by your striving, but by my decree. So now I call, Archangel Michael, God of justice, come forth. Let the light pierce the shadows. Let every name hidden in deceit be pulled into the open. Let the truth rise and the lies collapse. Heaven has spoken. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is activated now. Something unseen has been watching you, recording you, planning against you, not with open hostility, but with the sly cunning of a shadow. Heaven revealed it to me. There are pages written in secret ink, scripts of your downfall drafted in silence. And yet, even as they scribbled your end, the ink is being washed away by the fire of heaven. Their writing will not stand, for heaven has written your story. You have felt it, though you could not always name it. Whispers cut off the moment you entered the room. Smiles stretched across faces, but never reached the eyes. Invitations extended to everyone else, only to be withdrawn when it was your turn to step in. Your spirit noticed, even when your mind dismissed it. The subtle shifts, the quiet exclusions, the strange silences, all of these were the footprints of a plan that heaven has now exposed. The enemy has been working with half-truths. They know something about you, but not all. They caught a glimpse of your promise, but not the fullness of your destiny. And so they weaponized what little they saw, thinking it would be enough to undo you. But heaven laughs at their ignorance, for what they do not know is far greater than what they pretended to control. Heaven showed me seems to make the mystery plain. A trusted ally who forgot your name in crucial moments. A message never answered, not by accident but by intent. Documents misplaced, opportunities blocked, doors quietly shut while others passed through. And each time, your heart asked, why me? Why does this chill surround me when I gave warmth so freely? Anxiety has been gnawing at you in the night. The clock strikes 3, and your spirit wakes, restless, unsettled. You sense betrayal even before it is named. You feel like a stepping stone, used for someone else's climb, discarded once your part was played. These disruptions are not madness, they are signals. Heaven allowed the unrest to prepare you for this revelation. I saw prophetic signs written in the spirit. A cold draft sweeping through your atmosphere that was not coincidence. It was the open window where someone slipped their plan against you. You smelled smoke though no fire was in sight, because someone tried to burn your name before it could catch flame. These were warnings, not accidents. And the greatest disruption of all is this: you have searched for an enemy in public places, among those who openly opposed you. But heaven says, the true architect sat beside you, wore a smile in your presence, clapped at your achievements, and yet plotted your burial in silence. Their identity will shock you, but heaven will expose it in the right time. Ask yourself, who smiled and recorded? Who applauded even as they placed soil over your future? Who looked you in the eye while writing you off in secret? You have suspected, but you have not known. That is why heaven speaks now. Do not retaliate. Do not lash out in panic. Stay still, for heaven's light will pierce through and point the finger so you never have to guess. What you have called betrayal, heaven calls pruning. What you have called harm, heaven has already transformed into testimony. The stone of rejection is becoming the foundation of your rising. Type I receive revelation in the comments if this word is yours. Blessing code 1777 now covers you. Beloved, if this message is piercing your heart, then hear me. What we are doing together is more than words. It is the rescue of souls from darkness into light. Every seed you sow here, whether through super thanks, membership, or even a simple PayPal gift, becomes oil poured out to carry God's word further than you or I could reach alone. The link for giving through PayPal is in the video description, and it is not just a donation. It is a prophetic act, a seed in the ground of heaven. I feel the Lord saying, as you sow, I will multiply. As you release, I will restore. This is your moment to partner with the very message that is breaking chains even now. Do not hesitate, for open heavens respond to obedient hearts. Step into this divine flow today and watch how your seed returns as a harvest of testimonies. This is not merely human drama. This is not simply about jealousy, gossip, or misunderstanding. No, this is spiritual testing. Heaven has shown me that what you face is not the chatter of men, but the roar of unseen warfare. The conflict in your life is not random. It has been orchestrated in the spiritual realm because of the oil upon your head. Your battlefield is larger than your workplace, your family, your circle, or your friendships. Heaven and hell have been negotiating in the margins of your day-to-day life. What you thought was small offense or casual cruelty was in fact a targeted strike at your identity. Your reputation was marked because your calling was seen. The enemy recognized your potential long before you believed in it yourself, and so arrows were launched against your name, hoping to bury your influence before it could bloom. Understand the mechanics of this moment. Envy seeks to bury, but God uses exposure to elevate. Lies and slander are contracts written in darkness, but light is the only ink strong enough to erase them. The hostility you have endured is not proof of weakness. It is confirmation that you are marked for more. Those who rise in destiny often carry scars from those who feared their ascent. And make no mistake, they did not target you for who you are today, but for who you are becoming. Your response will determine the outcome. If you panic, confusion multiplies. If you fight with fleshly weapons, you add fuel to their fire. If you argue publicly, you dignify their deception. But if you remain still, heaven speaks on your behalf. If you choose silence, heaven's voice roars louder. If you lean into prayer, revelation shines like lightning and their contracts are torn in the sight of angels. Let silence be your sword. Let prayer be your shield. Do not think heaven is blind to what has happened. Every grain of dirt they placed upon your destiny was catalogued. Every whispered word was recorded. Every action, seen or unseen, has been written into heaven's courtroom, where their accusations cannot stand against divine truth. Yes, it hurts. Yes, the sting is real. Rejection wounds deeper than physical blows, especially when it comes from those you trusted. But hear me clearly, this pain is not purposeless. It is a signpost that you are close to breakthrough. The pressure is evidence that you are standing at the edge of transformation. Here is what heaven requires from you. Fast from retaliatory speech. Write down the names of those who wronged you, not to curse them, but to hand them over in prayer. Refuse to let your tongue become a weapon in the enemy's hand. Instead, make your silence an altar where God can burn away the schemes of men. I recall a woman who was whispered about until her name was dragged through every corridor. But years later, the very same room where she was excluded became the place of her breakthrough. What they meant for shame, God converted into a stage. This is what He will do for you. Heaven declares, humiliation will be translated into testimony. The scars on your heart will become maps for others who walk behind you. What was framed as your end will stand as a monument of your endurance. The court of heaven is convening now, and truth will be the final witness. The judge of all has already ruled in your favor. Type "I am covered" in the comments if this word is yours. Blessing code 2233 now surrounds you. Within 72 hours, things will begin to shift. Do not be surprised if the pressure seems to rise suddenly, if conversations are stirred again, if silence breaks into noise. This escalation is not designed to destroy you. It is orchestrated to expose them. Heaven has shown me, when the enemy realizes exposure is near, they accelerate their actions. They push harder, hoping the chaos will cover their tracks. But what they do not realize is this: the harder they press, the clearer their fingerprints become. You will notice signs in the natural realm. A sudden email will land in your inbox, not by chance, but by divine design, bringing hidden matters into the open. A public conversation you thought had been laid to rest will resurface, but this time it will not harm you. It will highlight their motives. An unexpected ally, one you never suspected would step forward, will speak with courage, bringing confirmation of what heaven has already revealed. These are not coincidences. These are signals that the curtain is about to be pulled back. Some of those plotting against you are obvious. They have been loud, proud, bold in their opposition, throwing stones without shame. But others are quieter. They smile in your presence, yet behind you, they plant seeds of misinformation. They orchestrate distractions. They arrange situations designed to push you out, to corner you, to make you question your own worth. Their tactics are subtle, but heaven says, I have seen. I have recorded. I will uncover. Do not give in to fear when the storm rises. Yes, you will feel the pressure. Yes, the air may grow thick, like the heaviness before rain. But do not move from your posture of stillness. Fear is the fuel the enemy desires. Heaven's command is this: hold your voice. Let your silence be your protection. Heaven will hand you the evidence. You will not need to search for it. What is done in secret will soon be shouted from the rooftops, not by your hand, but by a divine decree. The escalation is not random. It is the spiritual law of exposure. When darkness senses the light approaching, it thrashes in desperation. When lies feel truth's footsteps, they cry louder, thinking volume will cover the void of their substance. But light always pierces. Fire always refines. And exposure always comes at the appointed hour. Your heart must be prepared, for the revelation will strike close to home. The person behind the plot is not distant. It is not the enemy across the battlefield. It is the one who sat nearest your plans, who leaned into your confidence, who smiled as you spoke your dreams. That is why the betrayal cut so deep, because it came from within your circle. But heaven promises, though the revelation will sting, it will also set you free. Take practical steps. Keep records of your conversations. Write things down. Limit your words in this season. Be measured, be steady, be clear. Do not react emotionally. Heaven will vindicate you without your striving. This exposure is not for vengeance, but for justice. The curtain is being drawn. The hidden actors are stepping into the light. What was whispered in shadow will be declared before witnesses. And when it happens, you will know beyond doubt, heaven has been your defender all along. Type I am guarded in the comments if this word finds you. Blessing code 8181 is shielding you even now. Be still. Heaven fights when you don't. This is the command echoing through the courts of glory over your life right now. The temptation will be to rush, to react, to defend yourself against every whisper and every accusation. But heaven says, hold your ground. Withdraw from the noise. Let me war for you. For the one who sits enthroned has already loosed his angels into your atmosphere. The shield is raised and the sword of justice is drawn. Your posture in this season is critical. Do not waste your voice in reactive conversations. Do not burn your strength explaining yourself to those who are not assigned to understand you. Withdraw from the trap of endless explanations, for each word you spend in defense is a weapon handed to your accuser. Instead, retreat into the fortress of silence. In stillness, heaven fights. In quietness, the spirit shields. Your greatest act of warfare is your refusal to descend into the mud. Limit your presence on the platforms where gossip thrives. Restrict your energy from the circles where rumor takes root. Let silence become your weapon and restrain your protection. Do not confuse silence with weakness. Heaven calls silence strength. Every word you withhold is a dagger denied to your enemy. Every reaction you restrain is a testimony that your trust is anchored not in man, but in God. Surround yourself only with those who pray, not those who pry. 2 or 3 who know how to seek God in stillness are more powerful than a crowd that feeds on your pain. Seek their prayers, not their pity. Heaven will honor the covering of the faithful. Discipline yourself in daily practices of protection. 10 minutes of silence each morning, not to speak, but to listen. Whisper affirmations that align you with heaven's shield. My steps are ordered. I walk in truth. I am sealed and seen by the Almighty. These declarations are not empty words. They are banners lifted over your soul, signals to heaven that you remain in alignment with divine covering. Tend to your emotions with care. Write down the facts, the names, the dates, the words spoken, but do not allow them to poison your heart. Journal to release, not to rehearse. Breathe before you respond. Take a count of 5 in your spirit before your lips open, for in those 5 seconds heaven often releases the wisdom you need. I saw a vision, angels at the 4 corners of your life, holding torches of light. Around you, a circle formed, a shield not of man, but of God. Every attempt to strike you dissolved before it could pierce the circle. This is what your silence does. It invites the shield to remain intact. But a loose word, a fleshly outburst, can puncture the circle. Guard your lips, and the circle will hold. Do not fall into the trap of alliances with those who sow discord. Do not be lured by temporary comfort into the arms of those who secretly wish to see you fall. Stand in the circle of light. Let angels keep watch. I recall a man who refused to retaliate, though his name was dragged through the mud. For a time, it seemed as if the lies had triumphed. But then, in a moment he did not expect, an ally produced a recording, undeniable evidence that cleared his name. Vindication came not by his striving, but by his restraint. The same will happen for you. Withdraw. Pray. Watch. Your silence will not be wasted. Heaven will transform your restraint into strategy, your obedience into open doors. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 4545 now surrounds you. Now rise. The narrative changes. No longer do you stand as one buried beneath accusations, whispers, and betrayals. No, heaven declares, you are the one who walks free, the one who stands tall, the one who transforms the soil of rejection into the stage of resurrection. What was meant to silence you has only prepared your voice to roar with greater authority. What they intended for your downfall has been reforged into the very wings that will carry you higher. Listen, Child of destiny, you are no longer defined by what they said. You are not the rumor. You are not the rejection. You are not the silence they've forced upon you. You are what heaven has spoken. You are chosen, anointed, preserved for this very moment. You thought you were being buried, but you were being planted. You thought the dirt was meant to suffocate you, but in truth, it was the covering of a seed preparing to break forth into new life. Heaven showed me images of ascent. I saw wings unfurling where wounds once bled. I saw fire consuming the dross of shame until only gold remained. I saw a seed pushing through hardened soil, stretching toward light it had never seen, and I heard the voice of the Lord say, "This is my child. This is my vessel. What they tried to bury, I will cause to bloom. Now is your time to reclaim your voice. Declare this truth over yourself. I will steward what I am given with humility and courage. Write your mission statement in the language of heaven. Step boldly into the very places where you once shrank back. Walk into rooms where you were once sidelined, not in arrogance, but with a quiet confidence that heaven has validated you. Take small but intentional steps. Volunteer where your gifts can shine. Create what has been stirring in your spirit. Write what you have been afraid to write. Speak what you have been afraid to speak. Each step you take is not merely an action. It is a prophetic declaration that you are no longer buried. You are rising. Transformation is already underway. Fear is being replaced by confidence. People-pleasing is dissolving into boundaries that protect your peace. Where you once cowered, now you stand. Where you once second-guessed yourself, now you know you are chosen. Heaven has not wasted a single wound. Every betrayal sharpened you. Every rejection defined you. Every loss prepared you. Do not let bitterness steal your testimony. Do not let anger consume your ascent. Stand as one who was refined by the fire, not destroyed by it. Tell your story, not with accusation, but with testimony. Share not what they did to you, but what heaven has done for you. This is how your narrative shifts from victim to victor. You are not merely surviving this. You are stepping into destiny. What they meant for evil is the very material God has used to shape your platform. You are not their rumor. You are heaven's testimony. Stand. Rise. Step forward. Your empowerment has begun. Type "I am rising" in the comments if this word is yours. Blessing code 7777 has been loosed over your life. Now the veil lifts, the reason becomes clear. Heaven says, this trial was not random. It was purification. It was preparation. It was the furnace that would refine the gold within you. What you endured was never about destroying you. It was about revealing you. For heaven does not expose you to shame. Heaven exposes you to destiny. What the enemy sought to bury, heaven has unearthed and crowned with purpose. Do you see it? Exposure is not punishment. It is promotion. The dirt they threw was not the end of your story. It was the very covering that hid you until the appointed time. Now, as the light breaks forth, the covering is removed and the truth is revealed. You were not forgotten. You You were hidden until you were ready to carry the weight of your assignment. Heaven is declaring, you have passed the test, and the time of revealing is here. Listen carefully. Those who feared your growth sought to silence you. Those who benefited from your quietness resisted your rising. They feared what your voice could unlock, what your calling could release, what your presence could shift. And so, they tried to bury you under layers of deceit and rejection. But heaven declares, the very soil meant to suffocate you has become the platform from which you will stand. The hands that once piled dirt upon your name will be the very hands that witness your crowning. I saw a vision of reversal, dirt turning into gold beneath your feet. Chains falling and transforming into steps that elevate you higher. The laughter of enemies being silenced as heaven lifts your voice above the noise. This is not mere imagination. It is the decree of the Lord. The exposure of this season is the gateway into your new dimension. Hear the affirmations of heaven over your life. Doors that were shut will swing open. Voices that were silenced will be amplified. What was hidden will be revealed, not for your shame, but for your glory. What was stolen will be returned with interest. What was twisted will be straightened before all who doubted you. Do not despise the pain. The pain was the pruning. The betrayal was the refining. The loss was the preparation. Heaven wastes nothing. Every tear you cried was recorded. Every sleepless night was counted. And now, the revelation is this. You endured because you were chosen for more. The very wounds you carry have become the proof of your calling. Evidence of this shift will follow you. Unexpected endorsements will find your name. Relationships rooted in truth will be restored, not for convenience, but for covenant. New doors will open in places you thought were forever closed. And you will stand as a testimony, proof that heaven defends its chosen and vindicates its anointed. A story was shown to me. One who endured public slander rose later as a voice to nations, their credibility forged in fire, their testimony resonating with thousands. This will be your story too. Heaven has taken your pain and crafted it into resonance, your scars into authority, your silence into power. Heaven knows the sound of your tears. Heaven knows the cadence of your calling. And heaven declares, the revealing has begun. What was hidden will no longer remain concealed. Rise and walk in your revelation. Type I am revealed in the comments if this word speaks to you. Blessing code 1919 is now activated over your life. As you receive this revelation, I want to remind you, this mission is not about one voice. It is about a movement of light piercing darkness. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding a platform. You are sowing into eternity. Your seed becomes like manna, feeding souls hungry for hope. It becomes oil, fueling the flame of the gospel across nations. Hear the Lord say, what you release, I multiply. What you surrender, I sanctify. This is more than support. It is prophecy in action. Step into this divine exchange and let heaven reward your obedience. Now move. Destiny demands a yes. The time of silence has prepared you, but now heaven calls for action. You cannot remain in the place of hesitation, for the doors are opening and your response determines what flows through them. Heaven says, "What I have revealed, I now require you to activate. What I have preserved, I now command you to release." This is not the hour to shrink back. This is not the season to hide. This is the moment to step forward, clothed in the armor of your calling. Declare this over yourself daily. I accept my assignment. I will steward what has been given to me. I will not bury my gift in fear. I will walk in bold obedience. These are not empty words. They are keys that unlock gates in the unseen realm. Every declaration you speak aligns you with the current of destiny moving beneath your life. Heaven showed me a vision of potential unspent, gifts lying dormant like seeds stored in jars, waiting for courage to plant them. And I heard the Lord say, "Alignment without action is wasted potential. Action without alignment is noise." But when you align and move, heaven multiplies. You cannot remain in alignment without moving forward, for alignment is meant to create momentum. So rise and take visible steps. Fast and pray for clarity, even if only for a single meal. Write your mission statement aloud and speak it over your day. Share your testimony with one person who will celebrate, not pity. Take one uncomfortable step toward the dream you've buried. Record the small victories, for heaven records them too. These steps are not insignificant. They are prophetic activations. Each small act declares to the spiritual realm that you have said yes. You do not fear the risk. In heaven's economy, seed sown always return multiplied. The safest place you will ever stand is in obedience. The enemy will whisper fear, fear of failure, fear of shame, fear of rejection. But heaven says, step forward. For every risk you take in obedience, I release favor beyond your calculation. Opposition may increase, yes, but favor will outrun it. The hand of God will make a way where the path looks closed. Boldness is required. Discipline is required. Heaven is calling for action, not merely faith in theory. Testimonies will be born when you rise, not when you wait. Provision will flow when you move, not when you hesitate. Heaven is waiting for your yes, for your obedience is the key that unlocks your provision. I saw a vision, angels holding doors slightly ajar, waiting for you to step forward. They do not open fully until you move toward them. Your action is the invitation that permits heaven to act. Say yes. Walk. Move. Step. Do not delay, for your next season requires your faith to move in rhythm with heaven's command. Rise now. Do not remain a prisoner of the burial they planned for you. Heaven has unearthed you, revealed you, and now destiny requires your agreement. The time of hesitation is over. Say yes, and the earth itself will respond. Type ISAYYS in the comments if you accept this word. Blessing code 3131 is now flowing over your life. Behind the visible, a trade is taking place. While you have been focused on the pain of what was lost, heaven has been orchestrating a silent exchange. Even as you prayed, the angels of the Most High were moving like scribes, countersigning every theft, every lie, every plot against you. Nothing was overlooked. Nothing was wasted. What was stolen from you has been documented, and what heaven documents, heaven restores. Heaven showed me a vision. I saw coins being dropped one by one into a heavenly ledger, each representing a wound you endured. Every false accusation, every betrayal, every opportunity snatched from your hands, none of it disappeared. It was recorded, counted, weighed. And while you slept, restoration was catalogued. While you wept, recompense was being assigned. Heaven has been keeping perfect accounts. In the spirit realm, your name has not been silenced. It has been carved again on the scrolls of destiny, not with ink that fades, but with fire that cannot be erased. What men tried to edit, heaven has preserved. What the enemy attempted to delete, heaven has sealed. Even now, angels are gathering the fragments of your reputation, stitching them back together into a garment of testimony. Every fragment returns, not in brokenness, but in beauty. The exchange is not always loud. It is not always immediate to the eye, but it is precise. Heaven's bookkeeping honors every tear, every sigh, every moment you thought you were forgotten. Justice in heaven does not bypass time, it redeems it. What seemed delayed is often preparation for an even greater return. The longer the wait, the greater the recompense. I saw another vision, stolen goods being carried back into your hands. Keys once snatched now falling from the enemy's grasp. Scrolls once hidden now unrolled in your presence. Heaven is not returning to you what you lost in the same form. No, it is being upgraded. Pain has become authority. Wounds have become wisdom. Betrayal has become platform. What you lost is returning richer, wiser, refined by fire. Do not despise the process of waiting. Do not curse the silence. For in silence, exchanges take place. Heaven does its most profound work in stillness. Even now, the Spirit whispers, release bitterness. Open your hand. Let me place into it what is truly yours. Bitterness clenches the fist and prevents reception. Forgiveness opens the palm and allows heaven to deposit treasures greater than before. This silent exchange is not meant only for you. It is also for those who will hear your testimony. Your restoration will be a signpost to others that heaven is faithful, that nothing endured in obedience is ever wasted. Speak of what is being returned, not to gloat, but to magnify God. When you testify, you multiply the impact of the exchange, turning personal vindication into collective encouragement. So rest, trust, align. The transfer is already underway. What you lost is not only being restored, it is being transformed. What was meant to humiliate you will now honor you. What was designed to bury you is birthing you. This is the silent exchange of the spirit realm, and heaven has declared it is yours. Type "I am restored" in the comments if this message reaches your spirit. Blessing code 5252 is surrounding you now. Justice is already moving. Reversal is in motion. The hand of heaven has reached into the affairs of men, and the scales are being balanced with precision no earthly court could match. What they plotted against you, what they whispered in hidden corners, what they twisted into lies, All of it is now turning against them, not by your hand, but by the righteous hand of God. The same ground where they tried to bury you will become the very platform of your elevation. Divine reversal is unlike anything the world understands. It is not simply vindication, it is multiplication. What they meant for shame becomes the stage for your praise. What was designed to push you down becomes the springboard that launches you forward. Heaven does not merely restore, heaven amplifies. When justice flows from the throne, it returns not equal to what was lost, but pressed down, shaken together, running over into your lap. I saw the imagery of scales tipping in your favor. One side heavy with false words, the other side empty, until heaven placed its hand upon the balance. Suddenly, the weight shifted. Suddenly, the lies crumbled. Suddenly, the truth thundered louder than the whispers. Heaven has corrected the ledger with accuracy that no man can dispute. This is the justice of the Almighty, swift when it is time, patient when it must prepare, but certain in its completion. You will see signs of reversal in your life. Reputations once smeared will be restored in an instant. Conversations that excluded you will become invitations. Opportunities once barred will swing open in a way that leaves no doubt. This was God. You will stand in places you thought were forever closed, not by striving, but by favor. And those who doubted you will witness that it was heaven who defended your name. Understand this, justice is not always immediate. The timing belongs to God, and His timing is perfect. Delay is not denial. It is preparation. While you waited, heaven was arranging the outcome, crafting it in such a way that the reversal would not just satisfy your heart, but magnify His glory. When the tables turn, they will turn so completely that only God can take the credit. Guard your posture as the reversal unfolds. Do not rejoice in the collapse of another, even if they were the architect of your pain. Do not cheer at the downfall of an enemy. Let God's justice speak without your bitterness adding to the noise. For the measure of your reward will align with the posture of your heart. If you remain humble, the reversal will lift you higher. If you remain pure, the blessing will flow longer. I recall a vision of one slandered publicly, their name dragged through mud until it seemed beyond recovery. Yet years later, that same voice spoke to nations. Why? Because resilience refined in fire carries weight that cannot be fabricated. That same anointing rests upon you. You will not only recover, you will surpass. Heaven is writing the reversal now. The ink is divine, the decree is sealed, and the outcome is certain. You will not end where they tried to place you. You will walk in elevation, honor, and advancement. What they buried is rising. What they stole is returning. What they meant for your end will announce your beginning. Type divine reversal in the comments if you received this word. Blessing code 9090 is now released over your life. You were targeted, but heaven exposed the plot. You were buried, but angels uncovered the soil. You were betrayed, but your name has been vindicated. The identity of the one who worked against you has been revealed, and their schemes have been overturned. What was meant to end you has become the testimony that will launch you into your next season. Now receive this blessing by the authority of the one who watches over your life. I declare peace over your heart. The storm that once roared around you will no longer consume you. I declare clarity over your mind, that every lie will scatter and every truth will shine. I declare open doors over your path, that no hand can shut what heaven has decreed for you. Heaven has already acted. What you thought was delay was preparation. What you thought was silence was strategy. Now restoration is your portion. Now favor is your mantle. Now justice walks beside you. Pray these words in your spirit as I seal this word. Lord, restore what was stolen. Heal what was wounded. Strengthen what was weakened. Lead me on the straight path. Make my steps ordered and my way clear. Speak this over yourself until it settles in your spirit. I am sealed. I am seen. I am sent. What was meant to bury me will birth my testimony. What was meant to silence me will amplify my voice. Remember this final instruction. Keep still when heaven requires stillness. Move boldly when heaven releases you. Speak only when prompted by the Spirit. Love even when it is difficult. In this posture, you will walk in unshakable victory. You are not alone. Angels accompany you. Heaven defends your name. The Lord Himself has declared, you are chosen. You are anointed. You are protected. Rise now, for the earth is waiting to feel your steps, and heaven has already cheered at your yes. Go in peace, power, and purpose. Open this word fully in your heart. Receive the evidence, walk in the light, and let heaven finish what it began. Type I am victorious in the comments to seal this word. Blessing code 1001 now surrounds your journey. Beloved, as this word has sealed your spirit, I remind you, the mission does not end here. Every video, every message, every prophetic declaration is a torch carrying heaven's fire into dark places. When you support through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not just helping. You are sowing into a harvest of souls. Your seed becomes rivers of living water, flowing far beyond your reach, quenching the thirst of hearts crying out for truth. The Lord says, as you release, I will increase. As you give, I will guard. As you sow, I will send rain upon your field. This is not about money. It is about mission. Step into this holy exchange and watch heaven multiply what you release for His glory.